Good afternoon, everybody, or good morning if you're over on the West Coast. But welcome to our episode 4 of Interoperability Unlocked, where we talk all things sort of interop, health data exchange, etc. Today, though, we are going to talk about a TEFCA update, or maybe a lack thereof, given the silence that we've had lately, and some QHIN news that came out as of recently. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, as is kind of our norm here, the news cycle keeps, moving forward rapidly. Sometimes we hear a lot, sometimes we don't hear a lot. We did notice that, if you missed this, there was a leaked draft budget that came out publicly that we have seen that indicates a pretty significant cut to ASTP, formerly known as ONC. Who knows what it'll be called moving forward? I certainly don't know, but pretty dramatic cut from like 66 million down to 9 million. So if you don't know, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, ASTP, which I still call ONC, Office of the National Coordinator, is the part of the Department of HHS that oversees TEFCA. So what does this mean? I don't know. I don't think anybody knows. Is this even real? I don't know. Is this going to happen? I don't know. But did find it interesting that we are starting to see little tidbits of information, whether real or true or not true, pop up in the news cycles.
Yeah.
It's possible that this just gets completely ignored and, whatever happens. I mean, it's possible that, lawmakers have kind of ignored the budget in the past. So I don't even know if this means anything. But
yeah,
to the point of today's show, TEFCA on Mute, it has been, at least from a public perspective, been very quiet on the TEFCA front through Q1 of this year. And now, we're a third of the way through Q2 now. So it's like, what's going on here? But in the midst of all of this, we did get a new QHIN designated, which, first of all, hats off to SureScripts. I work with the SureScripts team on the interop side. They're fantastic. Super happy to see them coming on board as the now 9th designated QHIN. There was definitely some speculation around, like, are they going to be able to be designated if ASTP, ONC is being so quiet, can't really do anything right now? Because it is ASTP who designates. It's not the Sequoia Project Recognized Coordinated Entity, RCE. It's the government. So happy to see this. I feel like this is great news. Even though everything else is kind of quiet, this is positive news. So really happy to see this come out.
Yeah. So let's go back in case anyone's listening that has like zero idea what all these acronyms are that we're talking about. Let's just kind of start with, what is the role of TEFCA, Trusted Exchange Framework Common Agreement, and what are QHINs, like, just to give a lay of the land?
Yeah, let me pull this up. So I love this little umbrella imagery. We've been using this for years. I did take this from public materials from Sequoia, which is the recognized coordinated entity. So credit to them for this slide. So TEFCA, the Trusted Exchange Framework and Common Agreement, was federally mandated inside of the 21st Century Cures Act. And it stated that the ONC, Office of the National Coordinator, had to create this Trusted Exchange Framework with a common agreement. Ultimately to say, we need a single on-ramp, a single way for organizations with disparate systems to be able to connect and share data with each other, which really has been what was going on in the private sector between Commonwealth, Care Quality, eHealth Exchange, Health Gorilla, and No2 and SureScripts, and all of these organizations that by and large, for the most part, we've already been connecting to each other. Epic's QHIN. We've already been connecting with each other. We've already been sharing data with each other. This goes back several years. And is it perfect? No. Is TEFCA perfect? No. But the whole goal here was to say at a national level, we need oversight and we need policy and we need technical requirements to create this network of networks. So you can see here in the picture, there is ASTP, ONC. They're the ones who define the policy. They have the, oversight of kind of the whole thing. And they work directly with the Recognized Coordinating Entity, or RCE, which is the Sequoia project. Sequoia works directly with the QHINs, the Qualified Health Information Networks. And this is a formal designation that has to come from ASTP once a set of criteria have been met. It's not a lightweight process, I can tell you as someone who's gone through it. It is a lot. So it's something that, if you've been operating any sort of network at scale for a while, you know that is not a small feat. So QHINs, which now there are 9, let's see if I can name them all. So there's Commonwealth, us, No2, MedAllies, Health Gorilla, Epic, Nexus, SureScripts, eClinicalWorks, and eHealth Exchange. Oh, I'm missing one still. Health Gorilla, No2, MedAllies, eHealth, Kanza National.
I was just going to say it's yep.
I knew I could. It is a challenge, and then I'm anymore. It's like who? Okay. Anywho, so these 9 QHINs all connect to each other, thus creating a network of networks. We are all networks in and of ourselves. We connect to each other to create this like master network. Underneath of each QHIN are participants and sub-participants, and the definitions of those are formally written up in the common agreement. How those work based on contractual relationships between QHINs and their clients varies a little bit, but we've all sort of sorted that out. So ultimately, it's like for Commonwealth's the QHIN, and then we have our members who are by and large technology vendors like Athena Health, who are our participants. And then all of the provider organizations under Athena Health, as the example, are sub-participants. And so that's how the chain of legal and technical, flow goes within TEFCA.
Is it fair to say that TEFCA sort of kind of like just formalized what Commonwealth and others were kind of already doing then?
Yeah, I think it gave an opportunity for a different governance strategy than what had already been in place. It feels like sort of the evolution of care quality, which is another framework or rules of the road. It has the same type of infrastructure, which is mostly just a technical directory, and all of the connectivity happens between the big networks and each other, which is similar to how it works in care quality. It did create a little bit of an easier process as far as finding patient data. So it's a little bit smoother than care quality. And the governance structure is obviously quite different. It feels like there's a lot of like learnings from the past that we're taking from the care quality group and putting into TEFCA. And then it's been funny to see because now there's like backwards compatibility from TEFCA flowing back into care quality that says, okay, well, we feel like we got this right in TEFCA. Now let's turn around and go put it back into care quality and make it work there too. Because care quality is still operating at a very large scale today.
Right. Yeah.
It's still at a bigger scale than TEFCA is. So
so going back to like the funding that we talked about at the very beginning, which is proposing a drastic cut in the one that we saw, what would that mean for TEFCA?
Yeah.
Do you think?
I mean, it's hard to say. Hard to say. Like, I certainly don't have any like insider information on it. But, if I were to speculate, I think that the existing networks that connect to each other today are not going to stop doing that.
Yeah.
And so whatever needs to be funded, we'll find a way to make that happen, whether it comes from the government or not. Like care quality is not funded by the government.
Mhm.
Funded by the implementers who make up the network of networks type of model. So I think honestly, for the most part, people are just kind of in this wait and see mode.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
that, ideally gets cleared up pretty soon. It's not great for business when there's so much uncertainty. Uncertainty increases anxiety, increases questions, increases,
Right.
the temperature in the room, and decreasing that uncertainty is better for all of us, is better for business, is better for the QHINs, is better for the model. So
Yeah.
hopefully we see that
Well, especially when we use the word trust a lot,
too. Mhm.
in our community and in interop, kind of the lack of communication and the silence kind of
Yeah.
makes trust hard, in this environment. So,
For sure. For sure. Yeah, hoping to
um,
see that come back. I mean, from our understanding, when the government has this kind of communications pause on things, it's like,
yeah,
give us something. Give us something to
right,
work here.
right.
Yeah.
How could TEFCA's or how or why, whatever, TEFCA's positioning in the government, why does that structure matter? Or how would it impact government structure?
Yeah.
And what does it mean for like the average exchange, like in this environment?
I feel like there's going to be, I mean, I have one opinion on it. I feel like there's probably some people who would disagree. I mean, I think that having the government, two things. It's been good to have the oversight and kind of like the parent in the room, if you will,
Yeah.
when creating some of these policies. I mean, if you look at the RCE website, there are a lot of SOPs and policy documents on there. And
Yeah.
all those had to be created from scratch. So, it's been a big uphill battle writing and drafting and reviewing over the course of the past 2 years. So it's been nice. On the flip side, it's like, do we need that level of oversight? Could the industry figure it out for themselves? Maybe, but
Yep.
it feels like there's been, even though TEFCA is voluntary, it does feel like there's been an incentive to find a QHIN.
Yeah.
That probably would not have been the same type of incentive if TEFCA was fully private. Even though it's voluntary, even though, there's some like CMS mentions of TEFCA exchange in in some of the reimbursement programs, but even
Mhm.
those are not hard requirements because there's other options for promoting interoperability. So
Yeah.
but it almost created this like shopping event, this need to onboard, this need to connect. um I think we still haven't really seen a big shift from kind of the medium to small size vendors
Mhm.
feeling this urgent need to connect their client base. But we have seen movement in the right direction. Hard to
Yeah.
say if we really need the federal government for that or not. Some people might feel like it's good to have that parent in the room. Like I said, I think that the groups that have come together have a pretty decent working relationship together at this point in time and could figure it out themselves. None of these big guys are going to disconnect from each other. Their clients would not have it, you know.
Right. Yeah. I feel like we kind of already answered this in that answer, just because of the like incentive that we've felt with TEFCA, because it really did like help accelerate the community building with interop and exchange and whatnot. Do you think it matters if TEFCA exists? Like, will it impact greatly if TEFCA goes away? Do you think?
I don't think it matters if its name is TEFCA or not.
Yeah, that's
I
fair.
think
Yeah.
I think yeah, I think that regardless of what we call it, the foundation exists for national exchange. The foundation exists for big players in the national space to connect to each other, and they're already doing that and it's working. There's no
Yeah.
incentive to stop doing that.
Right.
So public or private, semi-public, semi-whatever, I don't know that in the long term it will matter. It may matter from an incentive perspective on getting connected and sharing data. But I don't think that if TEFCA ceased to exist for some reason, that it would all come crumbling down.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's fair. It makes sense. Okay, so we talked about SureScripts being designated. What
Yeah.
does this mean for like the healthcare community that we've added another QHIN?
Yeah, I mean, SureScripts already has a pretty strong community that they've built, that they connect through the Care Quality Network.
Yeah.
They also are really super strong in the e-prescribing world. So they have a great footprint inside of the industry. I think what it means for us is that it's another commitment to the new framework. We're calling it TEFCA today. We may continue to call it TEFCA or whatever it is, the new
Yeah.
thing, and likely a shift away from the old thing, which is care quality. Right.
Right.
So ideally, we are not supporting these two frameworks forever,
Yeah.
because the technology differences and the policy differences make it difficult to support both, and have alignment or not have alignment and implement things differently, explain things to our community about the nuances, which has been super fun to do. That was sarcasm. So I think it's fantastic. I think SureScripts is an obvious QHIN. They have a fantastic record locator. They know what they're doing. I think it's another indicator of the shift to the new and hopefully letting the old kind of wind itself down.
Yeah. This is like my own random side note, and I know I've talked to you about this like on the side, but I'm so curious, like if they're ever going to like cap out the number of QHINs, or like can people just keep applying? And I mean, granted, like you said, there's great candidates that make wonderful QHINs, but like is there ever going to be a cap of how many we have so that we're limited to this number of QHINs to select from? Or
Yeah.
is it just going to keep on going, you know?
Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean,
Yeah.
I think there's still space for payers to,
Yeah.
even like big payers. There's still space, but ideally, from just selfishly like managing a network, ideally we're not managing 100 different connection
Right.
points to 100
Right.
QHINs, and we have it be a reasonable number.
Yeah.
And, for the most part, most of the interoperability organizations that exist out there in the ecosystem are probably better suited to be participants or sub-participants.
Right. Right.
It is, like I said at the beginning, like a big lift to become a QHIN. I mean,
Yeah.
even an organization like SureScripts, even an organization like Commonwealth, who have been models for QHINs forever, it still takes a year or more. Like it is a long process.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of work and a lot of testing to do it. So I
Yeah.
think, unless operating a national network at a very large scale is already in your DNA, probably makes sense to be a participant under a QHIN, and enjoy the benefits
Yeah.
of that, and enjoy quite frankly, the technical buffering that a QHIN should be doing on your behalf. If we get blasted with millions of patient discovery queries every single day, we're only telling you about the ones that, you should care about. And 98% of the time, you don't care about them. And we're buffering that for you. So let the QHINs take on that burden, so that you can focus on your core services and what you're offering to the ecosystem.
Yeah. And in relation to like QHIN shopping, that we've coined it, what is a good way, because not all of us are the same, us meaning QHINs, we're not all the same. What's a good way for different exchanges to like differentiate the QHINs or like analyze the value when they're looking for their QHIN?
Yeah. So way back when, before TEFCA was actually published, and it was still in draft mode, Genevieve Morris, who was like deputy secretary at ONC, would say a lot that, TEFCA is the floor, and that these QHIN, these organizations should be differentiating on services above that floor in order to secure, pieces of the market that make sense within, their kind of sweet spot. And so there is quite a variation of what's available out there from QHIN.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to like call out any specific people or differences, but there's different implementation of how records are found within a QHIN. So that's something to note. There's big differences in how participants onboard to their QHINs and what level of effort that is. That's something to look into. There's obviously financial differences, big financial differences in an all-you-can-eat model versus a per volume, per transaction model, and that sort of thing. So, we've definitely had conversations with organizations that have spoken to most of the other QHINs, and they're like, we're just trying to evaluate, what's different amongst all of you. And I think that's fantastic because no one QHIN, except for like the ones that are EHRs, eClinicalWorks and Epic, like they cater to their customer base. Okay, take them aside. But the ones that are more interoperability, vendor platform type things, we all do things a little bit differently, and we all have strengths and we all have weaknesses. And so I think it definitely makes sense for organizations to be evaluating those and figuring out where the best fit is for them.
Yeah, absolutely. No, those are 3 really great tips. Okay, to close us out today, I have rapid fire questions for you again, Liz, 5 of them today. So you ready?
I'm going to be ready. Yeah.
Okay. One word answer. TEFCA in 2030, so 5 years. Is it thriving, evolving, or irrelevant?
I think it's evolved.
Okay.
Evolved. Yeah.
Final answer?
Yes.
Okay. Got it. Biggest misconception you hear about QHINs?
Oh, that it's mandatory to join one, that it's required. Not required.
That's a good
Voluntary.
one. Yeah. Okay. One tech buzzword that you never want to hear in a QHIN sales pitch again.
Oh my gosh, that you're the largest network.
That's hilarious. Yeah.
So I don't know who the largest network is. It's arguable. It's very difficult to quantify, but if you're very clearly not the largest network, but you connect to big networks and include that in your numbers, stop saying that. That's so ridiculous. That's not the buzzword.
Yeah.
That's not what we're using.
Yeah. No, find a different value prop.
Yeah.
Okay. How many QHINs will be standing in 5 years? I'm curious to think if it'll be more or less.
I think we're sort of, so I think even if we lost some, we'd gain some. I think we'd balance. I think we'd be somewhere in like the 8 to 12 range. I feel like that's a sweet spot. So somewhere in, I'll split the difference and say 10-ish, maybe 12.
Okay. Fair enough. 12 was like my instant reaction. I don't know. Yeah, we're on the same page. Okay, last one. Fill in the blank. The future of nationwide exchange is
available today. It's here today. The future of nationwide exchange is already accessible, and growing, and fire, and new standards, new technology all the time. But don't wait for something to happen tomorrow, because a lot of it is here today and available.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, amazing. Thank you for joining us today for episode 4. Episode 5 is TBD, but you'll be able to see it on LinkedIn as soon as I post the next session, which will be in 2 weeks. Same time, same place, noon Eastern time on LinkedIn Live or YouTube. I've been streaming it to YouTube too. So either channel, and we'll see you then. Bye all.
Bye.